So I went to the grocery store again today. That was a real treat, as usual. But I did notice something. I noticed that people have two main ways of picking out their groceries. First, they can go in with a grocery list, and whenever they do that, they kind of go from top to bottom, kind of walking randomly throughout the store, picking out their groceries as they have them written down. Or if you kind of have some more time and you kind of just went there without anything particular on your list, you usually start at one end and progress all the way to the other end, which kind of makes sense. I'll call this the progression method of shopping. However, you think that this is kind of a flawless plan, this progression method. Start at one end, cover every aisle until you're all the way at the end, but that's not the case because there's one major flaw with this theory of shopping, and that's if someone starts at the exact same time as you at one, at one end, then as you're working your way towards the other end, you come across each other multiple times and things can get really awkward. And that's what happened to me today. I started and there was this one other guy who must have been like 50 years old, and we started at one end and we started working our way towards the other end, which was a frozen food, and we crossed each other like 8 or 9 times, and it was really awkward because the first time I was like, oh, all right, I see another person. Hey, how's it going? And then the second time I was like, okay, here's you again. Hey, I'll give you a nice little nod or a wave or something. And then the third time was like, yep, still me. Same guy you saw me before. And then the fourth time, it's just like, all right, this is kind of awkward. This is me again, same person. Still not talking to you. Still not going to say anything to you. Just give you a nice little wave, acknowledge you there, move on. So it's kind of awkward when you're running across the same person so many times and you never you never really have a conversation with them because you can't like start on aisle 5 start talking to them because then they're like, why didn't you talk to me back then? And it just doesn't work like that. But even more annoying than that is when you have someone that's pushing the cart, say it's an old lady pushing the cart, and the aisles, you can fit like 4 carts through them side by side, but this lady decides that she's going to put her cart on one side and stand on the other side and just, pick out her product for like what seems like an hour and a half. So I'm just waiting there because, I really don't like to say excuse me or excuse me, can you please move? You're taking up the entire aisle, which was actually what she was doing. But I don't want to say that. It sounds rude, even though, excuse me is the polite thing to say. So now I have to stand at one end, pretend, I'm looking at something, pretend that I'm interested in, 18 rows of canned yams. Like, these look interesting. So I have to wait for her to move. And I don't know, she just should know that you shouldn't take up the entire aisle by blocking half of it with your cart and standing on the other half. That's annoying. But even more annoying than that, I will say is this. See, those people, if you want to go up, you can say, excuse me, and they'll move, no problem. However, you can come across this situation, which I did today, and it was kind of awkward. Whenever there's someone pushing their cart in front of you in the exact middle of the aisle, they aren't on one side or the other side, and they're going incredibly slowly, kind of like they're trying to race a tortoise and losing. It's like you can't go up to them and say, excuse me, because they are indeed moving. So it's like, what are you supposed to do? So you just like kind of walk behind them slowly, kind of like you're stalking them, I guess. But I mean, it's their fault. They're not moving fast enough. So I don't know. I don't want to go up to them like, yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I know you're moving, but could you just go a little bit faster? You can't say stuff like that. It's just weird. So, yeah. That was my experience with the annoying, awkward situations at the grocery store.